Everybody, I'm so glad to have you back. Today we are going to be looking at windows with a view, specifically the Coastal View window die. And this is a new set from Tina Smith. I love her stuff. She's Cards and Coffee Time on YouTube if you want to check her out. She's got great tutorials. Anyway, this is the die set. This is such a great die set. It comes with so many different dies, and she's got a whole collection. So this is also the up in the air view, and then these are the windows that you can buy. And you can buy these all separately, or you can buy them together. The windows are quite large. You can see there, like they fill a full A2 size card. And there are other things as well. There's the stencil set that all four sides, there are different stencils. So there's like a city scene, a mountain scene, grass, clouds. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic set. And then this great set of sentiments that all work perfectly together. So each of these things is great on their own. As an entire set, they are fantastic. Today I'm just going to be looking at the Coastal View set, but honestly they are all great to check out, and you can find that in the link down in the description below. Now for sets like these that have a lot of different pieces, and I cut this set out like 3 or 4 times actually, so that I would have lots of different images that I could use all together. It's nice to be able to cut them out of just plain white paper. I find that trying to cut them out of the colored paper works well too, but it is very time consuming to get all those little different pieces of paper all lined up just correctly. So I like cutting them out just out of white and then going ahead and using my markers or watercolors or whatever to go ahead and color them in. So now I'm using my Copic markers and just coloring those. It gives great saturation, and you wouldn't even be able to tell really that they weren't cut out of different papers. So this just makes it a little bit faster. I'm using the Altenew stamp wheel grip mat there to hold all the pieces in place as I color them, and that is super handy and helpful for these really tiny pieces. And I love how these cut out. They're small, but they are so detailed. I don't know if you see on that Monstera leaf, like all of those little petals come out, and on the fish there's the little pieces that go together to like give them more definition, and like that little flounder there. And so again, all of these pieces, they work so well together, and you can mix and match them. And so I cut out several, and I'm going to make several scenes out of this. I cut that porthole out of craft paper, and then I also cut a hole on the background paper to kind of match up. And I'm just going ahead and distressing it a little bit with some Distress Oxide inks. I wanted to add a little something extra to the porthole that I'm going to make, so I decided to go ahead and use some glimmer foil on some heat-resistant acetate and use that wave design, and then glimmer foil that onto the acetate. And then I'm just highlighting that with some alcohol markers so that you can see it more clearly, but it's kind of hard to tell on the video, but it does shine where the heat-resistant acetate and the glimmer foil come together there. And then just making a very quick background, you know, just scribbling in some colors there, and you can kind of see how the porthole looks. So my thought was kind of like a ship where you can kind of see under the water and over the water as well. If you've ever been like on a cruise ship, and like you can kind of sometimes see like when the waves rush up, you can see both the above the water and then below the water at the same time. So that's kind of what the look that I was going for. So I put an island there, so that's the above the water, and then I'm going to add in the fish underneath the water. I didn't originally plan to make this a shaker card. I wasn't actually going to put an acetate window on it first, but once I put the acetate on there, it just kind of lent itself to being a shaker card, so I just rolled and went with that. And these elements that I'm putting in there are just from the Dollar Tree. I have some little diamonds, just some little beads, and I think it adds a nice little effect. It doesn't seem to be too overpowering, and it just gives the card a nice little something extra. Now I did go ahead and double up that foam tape, so that is a 2-layer foam tape, just because there's so many different elements there. I wanted to make sure that there was enough room for all of them, so doing that doubled up was helpful. Adding to the tropical theme here with the monstera leaf and then the hibiscus flowers and some shells. Popping that up on some foam tape. Again, I always love adding dimension. I think it just gives a nice finishing touch. And then I'm going to add the sentiment. And now I'm just going ahead and using Wink of Stella to add some shine and sparkle to the different elements on the card. And that is our completed sentiment. I think this card is really fun, and I think in person the glimmer foil that I did on the acetate there shows up a little bit better, but I think it gives it a nice look with the kind of under the water as well as seeing above the water as well. For my next card, I started off similarly, cutting that porthole, and for the background I'm going to use these pre-made alcohol ink papers that are from Altenew. These papers are really nice because, I don't know about you, but I don't always have the time or the energy to do an alcohol ink background, but at the same time I love the look of the alcohol ink background, so this is a nice way to kind of cheat that. And I'm not doing this kind of folded card here for any reason other than I'm using a piece of scrap paper, and so kind of just to sandwich it and make it a little more sturdy, I just sandwiched it together. The other side of this paper is where I had cut the previous porthole, so just, you know, using up scrap paper here. There's no reason for me to have made it a sandwich like that other than to use it up. This card comes together super quickly because I'm just using the elements that I had already pre-cut and pre-colored. I feel like this card has kind of like a submarine porthole vibe, you know, 1,000 leagues under the sea, 10,000 leagues under the sea kind of vibe, and I like that. And the little gems that I have there, those are from Pink Fresh Studios, and they glitter and shine, and they're absolutely gorgeous gems. For my next card, I'm using this embossing folder from Spellbinders. That was one of their releases earlier this summer. It's a really versatile one with this net, and I just love the fishing net thing here. I did the embossing off camera, but I'm just going over it with some of the distress ink, and then going to go ahead and use that as the background for the card that I'm making. As I say that, I realize this is actually the foreground of the card that I'm making. So I just went ahead and did some distress inking over the net there, and then just used some Copic markers to kind of make an ocean. And then again, this card comes together really quickly because its elements were previously made. That's one of the really nice things about cutting out all of those pieces all at once, coloring them all at once, kind of batch doing it, and then they're ready for whenever you want. Sometimes when I'm not feeling particularly creative, I'll go ahead and I'll die cut a bunch of elements like that and prepare them. And then I just go ahead and store them with the dies or the stamps or whatever that I'm making and using. And so if I don't feel like up to making a card, I can still be creative by making the elements so that one day when I am ready to make the card, all those pieces are already made and done. Is your super quick tropical themed card. So, you know, I didn't use the porthole die with this, even though this is kind of like a window view kind of themed set. So this was the porthole view, and then the other sets, there's like the up in the air, and there's a botanical solarium and a bunch of others. But I thought it was good to see the elements not being used as part of the window set because it's a really versatile set. You can create all sorts of scene with it. So with this next card that I'm making, I'm just kind of making a kind of sunset sort of background. You can't see on this paper, but it is like a shimmer paper. So originally I was just going to have the bottom part be the water, but then I realized, you know, I wanted to give that more dimension. I wanted to make it look a little bit fancier, so I ended up cutting the bottom out of another piece of glitter paper, and you'll see how that comes together. But right now I'm just blending all of these colors together to kind of make a sunset vibe. And I'm using the stencil that was also part of this release to make the clouds. I'm using Hero Arts Unicorn White Pigment ink here, and that is making the white color there. And because it is pigment ink, it kind of rests on top of the paper rather than sinking in. And so I'm also using it to kind of make the waves, the foam that are on the water there. To make the shore, I wanted to use the sand embossing powder that I have. It's a really cool embossing powder. I got this in a Hero Arts kit a while back. There's a lot of different companies that make sort of a sand embossing powder, but I'll link to the Hero Arts one down below. I feel like it gives a really realistic sandy kind of ocean theme to it, and then when you combine it with the water that I have there, I think, you know, it just pulls it all together. For the sky, I wanted to add some more pieces, so this is part of that up in the air set. I love these little clouds. Oftentimes cloud dies are like these really big fluffy clouds. I really like these kind of low level clouds. You don't see those too often, and I think, you know, put together they make a really nice little scene in the sky. Now, I live in Vermont where it's gray, you know, 6 months out of the year, and right now in February we are really feeling that. So I had a lot of fun making these tropical themed cards, sending sunshine and smiles. I'm sending sunshine and smiles to all of you, and hopefully I will be able to be in the sunshine soon. I'm going to Florida for winter break, so I'm excited about that. And I hope to see you guys next time. Check out this release, and I really hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this helpful, please like, subscribe, and share, and I will catch you next time.